Hello and welcome back to the Georgia's Live podcast. I'm your host, Travis Smith. We have a very special episode this week with Andy from Remix Music, a music store here in Springdale, Arkansas. But first, you can go to georgiaslive.com to check out tickets and what shows are coming up. Be sure to follow us on Instagram at Georgia's Majestic Lounge, as well as on Twitter at Georgia's Majestic. And be sure to rate and subscribe the podcast. Let's go ahead and get right into the interview. I am here with Andy.
Hey, man, how's it going?
I'm doing well, man. How are you?
Doing great.
So we are sitting here, and is this your live room here at Remix?
This is our live room with our new wall of sound and our new keyboard display. We're carrying a few new lines this year, so we needed to rearrange the room. We're getting ready to tear out a couple more walls so we can increase our drum selection also.
Excellent. So how long have you been here? You're right here in Springdale, right off the Elm Springs exit.
We've been in Springdale for 4 years, at this location for 3.5. Started off at a smaller location down by Harps off Gutenson. Then we moved up here on Elm Springs Road, a little bit better traffic and a little bit more ambiance to the building. And, of course, it allowed us to really increase our inventory.
You're like right here off the exit, too, so it's perfect.
We want to make it easy.
Yeah, absolutely. In and out. So kind of go over what all you got here. What all are you selling? I know you got a lot, but what instruments and kind of what all are you dealing?
Well, Remix Music, we're a Fender dealer, and so we carry all the Fender lines as well, as far as the Fender lines, Fender bass, Fender amps, Fender live sound, Fender acoustics, but also we're one of the only places that carries Jackson, EVH, Charvel, and Gretsch, and we keep a healthy selection of those. We're also carrying Yamaha guitars and basses, and then we get into our acoustics where we're carrying Seagull, Alvarez, we can special order Takamine, we carry Fender, of course, Gretsch, some great guitars. The Seagulls are awesome because they're made in North America, they're not Chinese at all, and just awesome guitars. And we also have Michael Kelly, which is a foreign-made guitar, but a really great Taylor copy. So we're having fun with that, and we carry, anything from the heavy metal guy, what that person will want, all the way to the bluegrass guy. So we want to cover the spectrum. Then we get in our sound. We're carrying QSE, Yamaha, Behringer, and Presonus. And on the keyboards, carrying Roland, Alesis, and Yamaha.
You have a great keyboard selection here.
We're
a lot more than a lot
that.
of people have, man.
That's new awesome for us this year. We really wanted to increase our share in the market. And of course, we have lessons here to go with that. We have a couple great piano instructors and a couple great guitar instructors. So we like to reinforce that and get people playing music because that's what we love to do.
This has been my new favorite music store hangout.
Well, thank you.
So just coming in and chopping up, speakers, and I've learned a lot just coming in here. Just our last conversations talking about, I was trying to switch from powered or switch into a powered system, or if I should stay where I'm at with power amps and stuff like that. And you have everything you need here to kind of get you going. I have a few questions for people that are just now learning an instrument. I have a little one that's just now getting into trumpet and guitar at the same time. And you guys, like you said, you offer lessons here. What do you, for guitar in particular, what do you play?
I play trombone, guitar, bass, drums, and I'm learning keyboard right now.
Do you have any advice for a little one that's just now looking for a guitar? Like, what should I be looking for? Because obviously, tone is not going to be something that they're big on. But he's 12, so
I look at comfort. I look at comfort and playability, and something that's going to fit someone's hand, because that's usually what a guitarist goes to or gravitates to first. Is what's going to fit my hand and can I get my arm around it, especially for our smaller body players. My daughter started when she was 8, and I had to get her more of a parlor-sized guitar. And there's a lot of options out there, and you don't always have to get the cheapest thing or the smallest guitar. I mean, they're making some really quality parlor guitars because a lot of musicians are playing those out now, just because of the size and efficiency of them. And so that's probably where I start is fitting someone's hand. And then, I always tell people, find the guitar that calls to you. Because after owning a lot of guitars over the years and hanging out in music shops myself, guitars call to you. We have this sickness. It gets in our blood, and the first guitar is always the most awesome guitar. And then you move on and stuff. But I still have my first guitar.
I play drums, but I definitely have favorite guitars. Like when I walk in here, I see one on the wall. I'm like, it like you said, it calls to you.
Yeah. Well, drum kits do the same thing. I think all musical instruments.
I think drums are a little bit different due to the fact they're so big and so expensive. in so many
yeah.
parts, but there are definitely ones that I'll eyeball and I'm like, it's still there. One of these days it's gonna,
Oh
I'm
yeah,
gonna snatch it up.
everybody always dreams of that Neil Peart kit, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
It's
having that,
huge.
you know, and everything, and of course we got to start somewhere. Well, I tell you, Springdale and this area has a rich music store history. We have places like Sigler Music for a lot of years, and Tom Katz and those guys, Jimmy Darr, who was up here slinging guitars and everything, and really a great store for the area. And places like the Musicians Pro Shop, where Lee and Larry Hyatt and Bruce Concert worked, and it was a small kind of just intimate type place for musicians, but there was always something, and that's what I loved about going to the guitar store, seeing what was new, seeing what was called to me and everything. And that's kind of ambience we're trying to get here is, yeah, we're carrying a lot of new products. We carry a lot of used and consignment products also, but we want it to be a place where musicians feel comfortable to expand their experience and grow.
Yeah, having options to experiment with things outside of your box that find something that might be new.
So for our younger players, we try to convey that to them, you know, that this is your ride. This is your journey. We just want to help facilitate, you know, what you're doing and everything and find the best thing for you. And you know, everybody goes into, hey, price, and I can get this online. Well, you know what? We've got everything they've got online. So that's where we've tried to change the game a little bit is we're offering pretty much everything you can find online, and everybody's held at that same price. So it all comes down to personal preference at that point.
We were having a great conversation that I made us stop and save it for the podcast, but we were talking about with this area and the players, and I definitely want to talk to you about your history in this market personally and some of the people that you have working here, a bunch of players and people that are in bands. But we were talking about a rich history in Northwest Arkansas, a music history here as a whole. How long have you lived here?
I've lived here since 84.
Since 84?
And
so you've got to see a bunch of it before my day. Some cool stuff going on.
Back in the 80s, we had some really great clubs in the area. Not that I was supposed to be going to them, but hey, you know.
You heard about them.
I heard about them, making quotes, like River City and the Rink and of course, George's and what was it? Oh gosh, it slipped my mind.
I always hear from some players that's been around for a while. They'll throw out something. Then I am big into music venues where, like on Pinterest, I'll get on there and just look up music venues. I'm like,
oh yeah,
it's like my thing. I love how the layout is, how do they operate. It's what I geek out on. Like when somebody that hangs blinds will walk into a house and be like, oh, those are 2-inch forward that are 74 or 86, and then they're this over here. Oh
yeah.
That's how I am with music venues. Like, how does the person that has the venue do the booking? I'm just interested in it. How does that operate? Because that's the world that I've operated in. And so I love hearing about the venues that were before.
Well, you know, there's like Doc Murdoch's and just all kinds of JR's, and JR's is still going, right? The Lightbulb Club.
JR's is no more.
No more. See, that's a great little hole
to
play, and it was like you just get as loud as you can and get as many bodies in there and just slam up against the walls and stuff. But it's amazing because Northwest Arkansas, Fayetteville, Springdale, and this whole area is kind of the crossroads for a lot of musicians coming through. And there's people like Sleepy LaBeef and John D. Levon and a bunch of rockabilly guys that live here that were part of that scene in Tulsa back in the J.J. Cale days. And like Sleepy LaBeef, you know, hanging out with
Leon Russell. I mean,
you know.
All these people, they're not – some of them live here, but they definitely have a long history of playing in Fayetteville. You know, it's only 2 hours from Tulsa.
Well, yeah, and I mean, it's like the crossroads. I mean, if you're coming from Memphis and you're going north, you're going to end up going through Fayetteville. If you're going south from Kansas City or St. Louis and going to Tulsa, you'd end up in Fayetteville, typically, you know. It was nothing at some of the music stores around here back in the day to walk in. Oh, yeah, there's Joe Walsh because he knows the Cates.
Yeah.
You know, and was in town to see them. Or, you know, there's Vince Gill dropped off a guitar here, you know, or this person came through or this act came through, and they were just traveling in their bus, and they were like, hey, I got to stop there and see what they got, you know, because musicians are like that. I mean, every time I go to a bigger market or a different town, the first thing I'm checking out is the pawn shops and the music stores to see if there's anything cool there, you know. So that's what's really cool about music stores. It's a place of dreams. It's not like going to an appliance store and, I got to have a washer and dryer and stuff. It's like, man, I can fulfill my dreams here.
Yeah, it's kind of a hang.
It is, and that's what we want it to be. Is we don't want it to be like an in and out experience. We want to sit here and talk to people about music and find out where their goals are. Especially local musicians too, because we want to help them accomplish their goals.
Yeah, it's kind of hard enough as it is navigating the waters, being a, the phrase DIY musician. I'm not saying DIY venues or anything in particular. I'm talking about somebody that's running everything on their own. It's already hard enough as it is to navigate the waters of learning to book, marketing, video, promotion. What do you do to go out of town? Are you going to have to get a trailer? There's so many like little components. And I think having like your steady music store that you go to is like kind of where it all branches out. I know back in the day at Sigler, just sitting there talking to Adrian on drums, you'd have 5 drummers come in and you'd be there for 3 hours talking about so-and-so's playing with this band tomorrow night. Well, what's that venue like? Well, it's like this. We have a great time there. And, well, cool. Well, tell me about this band. And then you'd talk. And then another drummer would come in got a metal drummer, a pop drummer, then a gospel drummer all sitting there talking about music. There's nowhere else that exists with that platform of no expectations or anything like that. It's a hang.
And music stores are the United Nations of music.
It's like a skate shop for musicians.
It is. Come in, hang out, talk, have some coffee, have a Coke, talk about the biz, talk about music, talk about what we love. Mm-hmm. And, that's how I grew up, is hanging in those stores. I played trombone in Springdale at the Springdale High School Band, and I found out, that playing trombone, singing to a girl didn't work, so I learned to play guitar.
Yeah.
So
you can't just sit there and play when you hear a song and then bust out a trombone.
Exactly. And it's like, it's not like romantic. Hey, trombone's beautiful. It works for Chicago. It's great. But and that's how you get started. And then it gets in your system and you play out on stage some of the clubs that we've had here. And I think the first time I played at George's, it was like, and it still is, it's like the thing, right? Mm-hmm. It's like you've made it when you play at George's. And that's what I love about stage here. It says so cool. Even the front stage is so cool, because I played on the front stage and I thought, man, we're here. And it's that experience and that rush and what musicians call the chill factor and just being so in the music, And
I'm not saying this because this is the George's podcast and
I'm not
I
either.
work there.
I'm not either.
But I'll be honest, like, George's was the first music venue that I ever played when I was 15. They had the Ozark Blues Society, mm-hmm. and this was in probably 2000, I would say. I was 15. I was born in 85, so that would be right. Yep, 2000. And I remember going with my mom. We walked in, and my mom sat there next to me, and I met, I think, the lady that was managing, and I met her, and I'm like, hey, I'm a little kid. I'm off to the side, and I want to say is brother Corey Montgomery or Isaiah Warford or both. We're about the same age, and so they were kind of coming up at the same time, and I played drums. We didn't really know each other. We're probably all there with our parents. So I remember watching that, and I remember being there and having that feeling of like, I want to play at a real music venue like this. And I probably went 6 or 7 times to those jams, and I got hooked up with the band, and the guitar player was around 27 or 28, which for me, 13 or 14 year age difference when you're that young is a big deal. You're like, oh, I'm playing with like real players. And there was a bass player who was a little bit older as well, and we went and practiced, and I think my mom took me to the practice, and while I was there, like Pat came in and played guitar. I want to say like Lucius Spiller came by and played bass. And these people just started rolling over that were incredible musicians. And I'm like a little kid going, am I doing okay? Am I doing okay? Because I haven't really played out. Other than that George's jam night, I haven't really done a whole lot. I've been playing drums my whole life, but not with other people. And all these like killers that are so good just showed up and started playing. And I was like, okay, started to get the bug. Went and played some blues festivals down in southern Arkansas and stuff like that. Got some bands rolling, played around at smaller coffee shops and venues. But, go full circle, going around playing and stuff. And now working back there at George's and playing there, and the feeling and the way that, Arlie running the sound and just the marketing, everything together is like a machine that is unlike any other venue that I've played at. So it's cool to be a part of, but it's also like you're saying, man, there's so many people that I talk to are like, what do we need to do to play at George's? It's kind of like their one of their main goals of their whole career.
Well, and it's because it's such an awesome venue. Now, something we do here at the store, much like that jam you're talking about, is, and I don't know any other music stores that are doing it, and I can't think of many that have done it in the past very, very well, but we do every Saturday, first 3 Saturdays of the month, we have a open jam. And it's all ages and all skill levels. Like the first Saturday of the month from 10 to 12, we'll do an electric jam. It could be blues, rock, country, just whoever comes.
And that's in the daytime.
That's in the daytime. Yeah, not the nighttime.
You're not having some after-hours party or something over here.
Yeah, exactly. So it makes it so those people that don't get out and play, or they're looking for people, an opportunity to play. The second Saturday of the month, we do a praise and worship jam. For the church crowd, and there's a lot of church musicians out there looking for a church, and churches looking for musicians and stuff. So it affords them that opportunity to get out here. And then on third Saturday of the month, we do an acoustic jam, just kind of throw down and just. And what's great about playing with other musicians is you've got experienced people in the room, you got novice people in the room. I've learned something from everybody I've played with. And you always want to play with people that are better than you because you learn more, and you just pick it up. I mean, there's this guy, Benny Beals. He's been in the area forever. He's an amazing classical guitarist. He plays very Chet Atkins, Jerry Reed style, and he comes in here a lot. And he's an amazing player, and you'd never know it about him because it's just inside him, and he's just amazing. And then we'll have people like James McKinney come in, or even more so. I mean, on a weekly basis, we have people like James David Clark, Uncle Dave, come in, and he's been with so many bands in the area. He's crazy. I love him. He's just amazing on stage, and he comes in, and a lot of these older players, they want to mentor younger musicians, and this has become a place for them to meet those people and to have those conversations.
Did you say that's the first 3 Saturdays of the month?
First 3 Saturdays
taking the fourth one off?
Yeah, we've been taking the fourth one off and the fifth one off, and in this case, I guess. I guess the first Saturday is going to be on next Saturday, not this weekend, but next weekend. So we'll be having an electric jam. So we do an electric jam on the first Saturday, praise and worship on the second Saturday, and acoustic jam on the third Saturday.
So people just show up, bring your guitars,
bring your guitars. We will have and sticks. We have drums. We have amps. We have the PA. We have keys and everything. Just bring your guitar. That's all we ask, and we'll make sure you set up.
Tell me about your music history. Who have you played with around here?
I started off singing. I mean, other than playing trombone, I started off singing in a couple Christian bands in the area and in high school and stuff. And then I played out at like Box and JR's with a band called Big Junior. That included John Kreider and Caleb Mason and Matt. I can't remember his last name. I'm sorry, Matt, out in Huntsville. And we did that for a few years after I got back from the Marine Corps. And then I teamed up with Shelby Ream, and we did a duo for a lot of years and did kind of the Evanescence type thing. And then I joined Gerald Ford and Bill Fiddler in the recreation of the classic Bad Boys band from the 80s. So I did Bad Boys, and I was a crazy guy wearing the wigs and stuff and makeup, and I loved it, and it was a party all the time. And then I played with a band called Lizard Monkey for a while, and then I went to Iraq for a year and a half, came back, and I've been writing, and I signed with a label and nice. Did a lot of writing and stuff for a label called GI Jams for military artists and stuff. And now I'm playing with a band called Eclectic Soul, and we're just doing just some classic rock and 80s type stuff and just having fun with it. I play bass now for that band and sing lead, so I'm just having fun.
Nice, man. Well, is there anywhere anybody can go online to find out about Remix Music?
Yes, you can go to our Facebook page, Remix Music. You can also go to Remix Music, northwestarkansas.com. Check out our webpage. We do have purchasing on our webpage now and everything. Got all that taken care of. We post a lot on Facebook and Instagram.
Your Facebook promos are wild.
They talk me into some crazy stuff. Of course, if you've been in the store, I'm the guy with the blue beard. So, that everybody asks me, why is your beard blue? Well, I always say that Ron dunked me in the toilet, but that's not really what happened.
Like a urinal cake blue.
Yeah. My my daughter, she thought it would be interesting for me to dye my beard blue, and
now you got to keep it.
And so now I got to keep it because it's become kind of the thing
Your
here
thing.
at Remix. And hey, where's the blue bearded guy? You know, because we do repair on amps and guitars, and I do all the guitar repair and everything. We're doing a lot of custom mods now and everything, which is a lot of fun.
Oh wow, I bet.
Oh yeah, it's fun. So if you're out there and your guitar needs to be reworked, come into Remix. We can do
kill
that.
switch in there and play some Rage.
Kill switches, afterburners, pickup swaps, neck adjustments, anything. Just get your rig set up to play on stage. A lot of people are coming here, and we hope we're doing a great job for everybody. We've had positive response thus far. So
just in here, I've already seen 2 of my friends walk in here and leave and look at us like, what are they doing?
It's just a lot of fun. And, I never thought I'd get to do this. I looked at doing this about 20 years ago, and it just wasn't the right time. And when Ron and Sherry, the owners, came in and offered this up to me, I was like, I was at the VA at the time, working for the VA in logistics, and I was like, well, it's just the right time now. And it's been a fun thing every day.
What a dream.
Exactly. It's a dream job. I mean, and it's work, but it's a lot of fun. And it's too much fun, actually. I don't want to go home some days.
That's how I feel when I go to work, man. It's like I work in the music business. Like, what else? Even if it's something you don't want to do, it's still better than doing. You start thinking about what you did before, and you're like, "Oh, this is way better."
Yeah,
So,
I mean, every day's a new day, and every day's a new challenge, and every day's a new piece of music.
what else could you ask for? Well, man, I appreciate you coming on the Georgia's Live podcast with me.
Well, thank you so much for having me.
For you guys, this is Andy from Remix Music. Not me. I'm Travis, but I just talked to Andy. And be sure to go check them out online. Thank you guys for listening to the Georgia's Live podcast. For updates on tickets and show information, you can go to georgiaslive.com. You can go to Instagram at Georgia's Majestic Lounge. Go to Twitter at Georgia's Majestic. Check out all the shows we got coming up. Be sure to rate and subscribe to the podcast and tell your friends. Thank you guys for listening. See you next time.